Welcome everyone to this episode of Tea and Chi with my brother Zahir. So Zahir, let everybody know a bit about yourself. What do you do for work? Who are you? What's your mission for everybody who doesn't know you already?
All right, peace, everyone. If you don't know me other than the name Zahir, I often introduce myself by saying Zahir on the mic because I really believe, or I really feel that that's when I get on the stage. I have the mic and I want all attention to be on me. So what I do for my profession and most of my work and what I really take pride in is cleansing the body physically first, and then also purging things metaphysically. Given that be emotions, mental junk, mind clutter, dark spirits, dark energy. Sometimes it could be light energy that you have that's excessive. So my pride at work, my number one work amongst other things is the purge, and that comes in many different forms. And I use many different tools to do that, whether it be just hold space for you or use my products to help purge you physically, which is connected to plant medicine, and whether that be purging herbs like Cerecy, jackass bitters, most likely ones that come from the region that I'm from or from the region that I'm currently in. So I don't like to outsource and do things like that. Or whether it be entheogens, things that some people consider drugs, like mushrooms or possibly ayahuasca, but those are things that I administer very carefully, and those are more extreme versions of what I would use before I get to that. I would do a lot of other things to get you to a space of clarity. And I'm also into astrology, and I would say Hellenistic science, or something that they call syncretism, which is basically the science of all things. It just shows you how everything is connected, and I love to see how everything is connected, specifically through astrology, or numbers or colors, or you know all sorts of things. So I actually do incorporate that when I do help people purge. I consider all of pretty much all of the scientists. I listen to my intuition, and sometimes it shoots me in a direction of hey, you need music, or hey, you need to dance, or hey, you need physical exertation of your body to help you get to that space of clarity. So that is most of what I do to support my family. I'm a father of one and a husband. So when I'm not doing things for the community, I'm here putting all of my energy into my family, because that is my gym. That's also my bread and butter, is to see my genetics extend. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and one of the main reasons I invited you on the show is because this show is about tea, meaning herbology and all sorts of plant medicine, organic living, connecting with nature, and then chi, the universal energy. So when I met you for the first time, you and Brianna and your little baby, I was like, whatever they're doing, it works. Like whatever you're particularly utilizing to clean out the vessel, to strengthen the body, to build up the temple, it's working very well. So that's like, I remember that one time you swam out all the way to the island off the coast and swam back, and we're all like, we're looking at the intense currents, and we're like, he's got this. He's got this. I'm taking a nap on the beach. But yeah, one of the things that you definitely specialize in is purging and detoxification. And I wanted to get your thoughts on fasting, because it's something we both practice. It's something I'm doing today with just tea and water. in modern times especially, what is the importance and methodology that you use to fast and cleanse out the body in that way?
Well, first of all, I always analyze where the individual is at in their process, because for a person like me, I have taken cleansing so seriously for so long. Now I'm at a process, now I'm at a point where my body is literally asking more for substance, more to kind of calm down. And I understand that since we come from a long history of more like gluttony, most of the people come from a place of eat until you're full, eat more, eat heavy, eat, it's, I have to basically analyze that. Where are you coming from? Because sometimes really people need to really take that purging very, very serious. They need to go 110%, 110 miles per hour to go and cleanse the body. And the more they just purge shit out, the better they will feel. Or if you've already been on this journey, I'm going to tell you, hey, maybe you need to figure out what is your natural constitution that keeps you elevated and spiritually grounded. Because if you're a person like myself, I like to use myself as an example. If I'm not working out, if I'm not doing extreme things like swimming around the island or, really exerting myself, then I don't really feel my body. I don't feel present. So, like, to answer your question, I just really first just where are you at in your process, And if you're a 400-pound person, then I'm not going to tell you to just stop eating everything that you're eating and just do a bunch of saltwater fast or saltwater flushes, because that's gonna cause some issues. So we start off slow in that case.
Yeah, I remember when I first moved to Maui, when I started my holistic healing training and massage therapy training, Chinese medicine training, all of that. I did a huge fast for like a month. And where I was at that time was coming out of what my family had been feeding me, which is complete trash.
Yes.
In New York. Growing up in New York, pizza, McDonald's, Burger King. And through that fasting process, where it's just water, coconut water, and papayas and papaya seeds to kill the parasites, it was like I would be having not only profound visions of what this was cleansing for my soul, but I would literally see the parts of my body that were getting eaten away that were the worst parts. Like I would see the burger that was making up part of my arm bone, or I would see a vision of like the cheese that was stuck in my veins. And I was just like, oh man, we are like dirty animals. We get we shower and we do all these things to make it ourselves, put on deodorant to make ourselves smell nice, but we, compared to other animals, we are some dirty, smelly, like especially in our gut. Like, oh man. But yeah, meeting people where they're at is sort of huge, because if you try to come from the top of the staircase of cleansing your body and person's way down at level 1, first of all, there's this element of like, oh, I've done better than you, but meeting people where they're at is also remembering each of the steps that we got stronger from, that we were once at some time really immersed in some sort of lower level of health and wellness. And that doesn't mean that was a worse version of ourselves. It's just we've chosen to cleanse the body, to respect the body as an aspect of Mother Nature that she's let us borrow to live this human experience. But for me, what started it all was Reiki. Once I started training with my original root guru, my Reiki master, it was like once I started healing the energy and the energies in motion, the emotions, the food naturally changed to the higher quality. My lifestyle naturally changed to higher quality, more activity, more energy movement, more connecting with nature. Because emotionally, I couldn't connect to the old paradigms of watching TV
Yes.
with the family way too much, melting into the couch and eating pizza. It didn't align with how I was feeling because
Right.
the Reiki cleansed out and got me feeling like, oh wow, I'm starting to love this universe and love this vessel that I'm in. I can't be feeding it trash. I can't be feeding it mental trash or audible trash from music. It's got to be aligned with what's my heart's feeling now that it's a bit more cleansed and free of the trauma that we're all experiencing. So I'd love to hear a bit of your wisdom about the more energetic or emotional energy emotional aspect of cleansing and purifying the body.
Yeah, that actually came late for me, was the the energetic power that we have to move that, because we typically kind of find it childish, or we typically find it like, hey, am I really this powerful to go inside and channel this energy out of me, or bring prana into me, or do we really, do we really have the power? And I did not believe in it for years in my process in the beginning. So I stuck strictly to physical, hardcore, like just get this stuff out. And what I noticed initially was, hey, that worked, and it worked for a while. But then when I neglected myself emotionally, um, and I neglected myself in an energetic sense, that's when I was like, hey, this stuff is not working anymore. And I questioned it. I wondered, like, yeah, why is the plants and everything that wasn't giving me that same feeling. So then when I finally just accepted that that's not the only thing that you need to do, then I started to attract people like yourself. Then I started to attract, people that are into dreams, people that are really tapped into energy movement, Reiki masters. And I'm like, hey, why am I attracting these type of people? I'm not. There's no more vegan people that I'm looking for. Or there's no more, no more of the physical. Um, I would say attraction to that. I was literally attracting more different people. So then when I met you, or when I started to even look at sexual energy was big before I met you. I've always been a very sexual person, whether it be the conventional way or it be energetically. Matter of fact, this is a book right here that we were reading, me and my wife this morning, and that's what we were doing is. Um, helping each other move our energy. And instead of conventional sex, what we're doing is we're actually tapping in more into energetic connection. So literally, hold on. So we're getting more into the energetic movement, and energetic feeling and connection. So um, it's just a series of events that made me realize that this is very important, and we are multi-dimensional beings. Energy precedes the physical. So if you really want to have dominion, or you really want to have control and be able to navigate this system, this reality in the way that you would like to, it's a very good idea to get in touch with those things energetically when it comes to the chakras and things that they kind of thought it was like spiritual mumbo jumbo from the Western mind, but they're real. They're there. Using my hands, I was told by psychics that I went to get a broader perspective on my energy, that I had powerful hands, that I was neglecting my hands and not using them for things that I know I should be using them for. And then I really started to look at my hands and like, wow, maybe that's the direction I need to go. And now I'm actually feeling that. I'm actually seeing it play out in my life and amongst the people around me. I can see how people are looking at me, and showing more respect, as a master, almost as a community leader. So it's helped me step up in a way that just detoxification could not do.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you brought up the sexual energy, because we as humans uh, naturally are connected to what's called the cerebral spinal fluid in Western science, for anybody who's just kind of getting into the flow of more Eastern concepts. But in the East, for a long time, for thousands of years before science, Western science, we've been talking about it in India and China as the Kundalini, or the dragon energy. So everybody has this. And this sexual energy, as you were saying, is not just for connection sexually, physically, romantically with people. It's literally from a Chinese medicine and from a yoga perspective. It connects you to all of your food, all of your friendships. That sacral chakra energy, that spinal fluid energy, is like the physical life force. In qigong we call it jing, and it's like an hourglass. You have, if you go around being a heathen and just like blowing up all you're partying all the time, having way too much physical sex, you deplete. And my Reiki master taught me about this very early, my root guru, right when I first started my journey in 2013, 2014. He said, make sure you conserve and take care of your kundalini, your sexual energy, because you can turn into an old man very quickly. He's like, my brother, he was telling me, he's like, my brother is 10 years younger than me, but he looks 20 years older than me because he was always expending this energy. And we have to learn as souls to value our energy, because this is what, when people talk about dark conspiracies or evil conspiracies, they already got the money. Right? It's very obvious that there's some very corrupt, violent, evil, manipulative people with loads of money. So what do they want? They want your energy, especially with people who have lost large amounts of their energy or their soul, someone would call it, someone who's lost or sold parts of their soul. What they want is that energy, because someone like yourself or myself has an abundance of wealth, of spiritual prosperity, of energy prosperity. So we can go and I can hike a 12,000-foot mountain and come back down and do 100 push-ups straight, because there's an abundance. There's this wealth, is a good word for it, a treasury of energy that you can use not only for yourself, but in healing. And that was one of the great moments that we've shared, is recognizing your mastery. And my root guru, my Reiki master Hector, always said, I will not let you ask to become a master. No master should ever let themselves decide that they're ready to be a traditional Reiki master, a Chinese medicine master, a grandmaster, a kung fu, great guru. You need to be recognized. And
yes.
so my path with that was studying all other modalities, studying yoga, studying yogic meditation, studying massage therapy, studying anatomy and kinesiology, physiology, massage therapy, Chinese medicine, qigong, Hawaiian lomi lomi, Hawaiian medicine, Tibetan medicine, and then Native American shamanism, herbalism. When all of that clicked in and I had a holistic approach that was masterful, I came back to Long Island, New York, and my Reiki master said, you're ready to become a master in 2020. And then when I saw you, I'm like, you're ready. So like, there's people that are like not even close to your level, because there is energy levels, right?
Yes.
It's not, we can't, one of the things I like to metaphorically say, is you wouldn't let your fat, out of shape cousin fight Conor McGregor or Mike Tyson. There's
Right.
levels. We
There
have
is.
to acknowledge that, not in a way that boosts our ego, like I'm the master and you're some sort of sub being. It's not like that. It's like I've accumulated this wealth through my spiritual discipline, through my physical discipline, through my life choices, through my emotional, intuitive choices that have allowed me to accumulate this wisdom, just like someone would accumulate physical wealth. That makes them wealthier. Doesn't make them better, just makes them wealthier. So when you have that, you understand that there is levels to energy healing. There is levels to someone who's a doctor, whereas there's people like my friend Joe, Dr. Joe Hanovnickian, that I had on the show on one of these episodes. That's a very high level holistic doctor. And like us, when he's got his shirt off, you see his muscles popping out, and his body is clean and his eyes are bright. And then you got some fat Western doctor that pushes opiates, and they got no health. I remember I told someone one time, I won't get too into who it is, but he was like, well, I'm a health professional, I'm a medical professional, and this salt is bad for the body. I'm like, first of all, you're not a medical professional because you're way unhealthy, and everyone at the table knows this. And it's immediately shut down the ego of being a medical professional. Really was a wealthy businessman, was what he was. A good businessman. Well, like good, not morality good. But anyways, I'm like, salt is only bad if you're not drinking enough water. And there's so many other fats or unhealthy fats or chemicals or toxins in your body. Salt is fantastic for anyone who's hydrated. It's a key component to being hydrated. So I just kind of ripped through his ego. But that's a really good analogy for where we're at. Is like when you who are watching this video are choosing a health professional to um, help you live a more full, holistic, light, enjoyable life, you need to choose somebody who's embodied. When you look at them and you see their eyes and you see their body and you're like, that person's healthy. What are they doing? Not like this person has a $800,000 doctorate that they hang on their wall and says, I'm a master of the brain, or I'm a master of the health science. Is like, sure, okay, like are you really? If you're not displaying that, if you're not embodying that, are you really?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting leeway to my next question I want to ask you is about uh, not just astrology, but our relationship to nature in general. How can that, as a anyone ranging from somebody who's just trying to get into health holistically, or somebody who's been on the path of qigong or Reiki or herbalism for a long time, how does connecting to the stars and the movements of the celestial and earthly bodies influence our physical health, or how can we channel that to influence our physical health?
Well, I would say for me, it's recognizing that um, that the stars are just a reflection of what's down here, and for me, it's so beautiful and expansive because we look up at the stars in awe and we feel that they're big, we feel that they're massive, we feel that they're infinite, and with that feeling, before I get to the analytical thing, that feeling of expansiveness makes you feel connected to something bigger than you. And that, for me, that's powerful. Doesn't that doesn't neglect the ego. It humbles the ego. And then you don't find yourself in places where most of the time, um, I don't find myself in places where I'm over exerting my ego or thinking I'm this big bad person. I know that I'm just a vessel and I'm being funneled from somewhere, some place that is massive through this little puny body, and we're here talking to you, through these tools. So for me, that was number one. And then also seeing how everything is linked to whatever's going on up there is linked down here. I can say, um, for example, I learned down in Costa Rica where I am now, where you don't want to cut the trees. If you're going to harvest trees for wood, you don't want to cut them during certain moon cycles, specifically full moons or when moons are waxing, because when they're waxing, the wood internally is opening up. And if you cut the wood while it's open, then bugs get inside of that more and they degrade the wood quicker. So you want to find it when it's going down, when you want to cut wood, harvest wood when the wood is actually on its closing cycle. So that way it's more tighter and it's more closed off from, little even organisms that are very small that we can't really perceive, break down the wood a lot quicker. And that's just one thing coming from the moon. And I can also give you another example is we use GPS systems only because we don't know how to use the stars to know where we are, to know where we've come from, and to know where we're headed. So my goal really is to get people to see that all of these things that we use externally, like these phones that at one point we used to be able to communicate like this, same thing on a screen, but inside of our body, and see each other just as clear as we see each other now. And I think astrology mirrors that in so many ways, or the celestial bodies, the 24-hour clock, how we made time, how I said, hey, Owen said, we're going to do this at 10 o'clock. And at such and such time, if you're in a different time zone, all of that comes from literally the sun on the ecliptic, going through the 12 zodiac signs. We get our time and we get our structure from all of this, and it goes deeper. The more you are more into the knowledge, the more you expand your knowledge. If you're a musical person, you can become more adapted to a musical sense when you know the 7 chakras are musical notes and octaves. And when you look at a piano, you see it goes from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the 7 chakras right there. And then we got the 7 days of the week: Monday, Moon Day, Sunday. It goes across the board. And that's how for me, that's how I've been able to see how connected we are. And there's no separation between every single thing that we're looking at. The colors, the 7 colors of the rainbow, you're looking at from Saturn red all the way to the base, all the way to the indigo at the top, which is the moon. And it's just, to me, it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it showed me how I'm connected to everything around me.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 things that really stick out to me when you say that. Is one of them the smallness of ourselves physically is something that's like a breath of fresh air for almost all of us. I don't know anyone personally that can look up at a clear starry night and not feel something uh, profound and beautiful. And for me as an energy practitioner, I like to integrate that as these celestial bodies are so big that traditionally, from what I've studied in qigong, is if I pull from the energy of the sun, there's nothing I could do with this physical body that could drain the sun of its near unlimited comparatively energy source. If I'm connected to the Pleiades, which is huge stars, Orion's belt, huge stars. If I'm pulling in from those centralized suns, so big that other suns orbit around them, how could I ever run out of energy? Or if I connect into the source sun, that mysterious God goddess Big Bang from the beginning of the universe, that's definitely not running out, especially when we're in these little tiny bodies. And the other thing was, when you're talking about utilizing the stars as navigation, something that immediately I remembered was visiting the Native American holy site Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. And this was a Native American university where people would travel from as far north as Canada and the Cree tribe, and as far south as Peru, and the Andes, the Andean people. And they proved this because there was cacao cups all the way from people from Peru, and there was tomahawks that were only found, a specific type of tomahawk, in the Cree tribe. And it's in the middle of the desert. Like, with my GPS, it took me about an hour to get there from a modern civilized place in the middle of the desert in New Mexico. And I'm like, people were getting here from the stars. It's like, if that doesn't interest someone who's interested in the stars, I don't know what will, because I'm sitting there like, how did these people get here? There's no way that people went all the way from Canada or the Andes Mountains and figured out how to get to the middle of the desert to this Pueblo town where there's like no water, there's no something guiding you to it. It's just a stone structure built in the middle of the desert. And how they brought enough water to survive out there is beyond me also. But
Yeah,
we got
it's
about like
amazing.
3 minutes left. So
You said
if
how
there's
long?
any finishing notes that you want to bring up for the last 3 minutes, because Zoom is freaking limiting the time unless you pay them. So
Oh yeah. I know how that is. Well, I would say that this has been a great talk. It's just a reminder that I'm going in the right direction, because if I'm pulling in these type of conversations and connecting with masters like yourself, and I'm on the right track, man. And like I said, I had a great morning. I had a great rising with my lady, and we actually practiced what we're literally talking about right now, after kind of being too tired or feeling that we have not enough energy to do so. And today was just that stamp on it, like, you know what, we're gonna work past this, and we're gonna get it done. So I'm just seeing the reflection in my actions. If you make the decision to take this step, then the universe will follow.
absolutely. And for everyone watching this, whatever level you're at, your body knows, your soul knows. Like, we both got here to the point that we're at, health wise, by listening, which is a receptive feminine quality. Even though if you met us, we got manly beards and manly muscles and can do all these physical feats, but that health quality, a lot of it is feminine, especially the physical aspect.
That's
So when
true.
you're watching this, don't compare, don't contrast, just soak in whatever information is nourishing to your mind, body, garden, temple, and integrate what works. I found inspiration recently in the stagnation. Like, I fell out of discipline a little bit and was just taking too many naps and lounging around. And because of that stagnation, I got encouraged to move and do more qigong practice and more health practice. So you can find inspiration in the stagnation. You can find inspiration at the top of a metaphorical mountain, wherever you're at, high, low, happy, sad, ride the wave, surf the stars, whatever your heart, your body is calling for. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Zahir, for being who you are and helping to unite the universe in a more compassionate way than what we've been through in the recent Kali Yuga. But we'll get out of it. It's not going to be the Dark Ages forever.
In due time, we're getting out of it.
All right, peace, everyone.
All right, thank you all, and peace.